Maria M. Is that okay?
Yeah, welcome, Miles.
Uh, we're now going to talk about Max Spiers. Is that right?
Okay, yeah.
So, well, what happened?
Um, Actually, everything what I could tell is my very subjective point of view and my feelings and my visions. And I I've gotten information about Max's death just 1 hour after he died. Uh, I could have a contact with people being with him at the moment after his death.
Okay,
Uh,
I think just to sort of clarify this, you're speaking from Warsaw. Is that right?
no, I'm living in not in Warsaw. I was then a few hundred kilometers from the place he was in Warsaw. I was not in Warsaw. I only found people and I start to rescue. Like I'm,
But you,
let's say my specialization is sort of astral travel, and
so
for
yes.
years I've done.
Sorry, I just want to so that the audience knows you've got. Do you want the audience to know you have any abilities above normal people?
Yeah, that's the point. With my abilities, it's difficult to tell because time, years ago I've done workshops with a guy from Monroe Institute, and I'm busy. How shall I say? Just half of my life is in the astral dimension, in different dimensions, and I've done a lot of work for people that died and didn't left the earth, and I had to help them. And it's just like my daily life. I'm spending a lot of time in fourth or five dimensions, and I had some experience uh, which are very similar to that what Max was telling about being a super soldier and the fight in the other dimensions. And I've got for sure I have memories and dreams and informations that I've got sort of training being I was trained and I could really I can even name I've got even the name of the place, or I was trained somewhere in Alaska and I could see it in my dreams. And it's like that the moment when Max died, I had a feeling that I didn't discuss with him very important issues, which only he got the access. And I'm being busy with for years with sort of research about kingdoms in Europe and influence on everything what's happening now with us. Is having background in Middle Ages, Templar brothers, and my connection with Max was very clear, became very clear to me when during the conference in Warsaw. And but I didn't have time to meet him in Warsaw, and I was planning do this, let's say in the summer after he came back after the holidays. But then when he came back from the holidays, he died within 3 days. And this evening, I had a feeling like I'm losing something very, very important, except that it was awful that he is dying. And that's what I done. I was trying to get him back because I tried this already with some people some time ago, and I had access to very important information, which is like what's happening. I asked for permission to get him back, and
Now this
I
is now this is to be clear. This is the brief period of time
yeah,
after
it
I
was
was told with two text messages that Max was dead, and I
yeah.
spoke to Monica, and she was very distraught. But I noticed that her tone changed because there was some possibility that Max could be recovered. Is that the time you're talking about?
Yeah, it was. It happened. I found them when the guys from hospital left, and he was actually. They tried to get him back for 1 hour, maybe a little bit less, maybe 40 minutes, maybe 1 hour, and then I asked them to try again, and I was trying on my astral level, and trying to get him back, and they were trying to. Make the how do you call it, reanimation?
Resuscitation?
Yeah, reanimation. How do you say it in English? Like to get him back to life.
Yeah.
Just the
Resuscitate.
yeah. And when the doctor, just when the doctors left, because I had yeah, and I had a feeling maybe we have to try once again. And he, because it was his decision not to coming back. It is in a way he was. I have an impression that he has the power to decide if he wants to live or if he wants to die. And it was just like still enough. I've got information that we have like 15 minutes, and maybe if his decision would be positive, we can get him back. But I've done also something strange. Yeah, actually this information is, if people don't never done such meditations or don't know what Monroe Institute was doing, it's very difficult to explain.
Well,
But
can you tell us what the Monroe Institute was doing so that we do understand?
uh, it's like conscious dreaming, and the conscious dreaming uh, has a lot of to do with what's happening to you when you're dreaming, and the access for the to the information, what's happening to your soul when your body is in dream state, and your soul is traveling and meeting people and doing stuff, and it's like fourth dimension, fifth dimension. That's what happening actually happening to us when we're dreaming, but then we don't have access to the information we're getting when we're dreaming. And I'm trained in yeah, conscious dreaming, let's say. But I can do it if I let's say if I know somebody who is dying and he's not. I would like to help him. Then after his shortly after the death of the person, I could contact those people and try to help them with passing through the. I mean, not stuck on the earth between the living people, only to pass through to higher dimensions. It is like traveling between dimensions.
Is there a time limit to that? Is there sort of
No,
five
no, no.
hours
So
or?
that time, it has nothing to do with time. It's in a moment when somebody is dying. It's like your soul is leaving your body, and then the soul is like between the dimensions, and then you can get such person back to the life if there is enough power, or there is the permission from the, let's say, from higher higher. Yeah, yeah, it's very subtle. But then when Max died, my it was sort of um, um, yeah. I went to the higher dimension to ask for the permission to get him back. It was like a huge council sitting, higher beings sitting all together, and they asked me to wait for a moment. It was like it was happening everything within a few seconds, and I had to wait for the permission to get Max back. But then his decision was not to coming back, and when I could see him, I could see him, but then he was turning, he was not turning with his face to, in my direction. It was very strange. And after all, I think I know why it was. But then, um, no, yeah, it doesn't matter. He didn't want to come back. Uh, he didn't want to come back to life, and it was his decision. And it happened actually like 1 hour and a half after his real death. And maybe and the more information I could get from him, it had to do with his holidays in Cyprus, and it has to do with, I mean, he died because somebody didn't. It was not a poisoning, but it was like working on a distance with, sort of radiation, or I don't know. They what is done with him had something to do with his stomach or his digesting system, but then it was done on a very strange, just on distance. It was like he was under the radiation. I think it happened on Cyprus. It's my information I've got. It was during his holidays when they could get him.
Are you
You know?
saying I've heard a number of possible drugs from Polish rat poison, which is a particular type which is very prone to produce black blood coming out of you, which is not available in England, but it's available in Poland. It's quite available. But also two other poisons. One was African snake venom, a death adder venom, and another one was African scorpion venom. Uh,
Mhm.
is that anything that you would be familiar with?
Yeah, but it was my first impression. It was something like this. My first impression when I heard how he died, it was like being poisoned on a physical level. And after all, I've got also information that he was attacked on different levels. Maybe it was the poison, but I had a feeling, and I like a sort of information I've got that I mean, those informations are coming to me, of course, during meditation, and I can't say it is for 100% real, but it is like a strong feeling that he was attacked on many levels, and maybe he got some poison somewhere. But there is also very important that he was under this sort of radiation, or how do you call it in English? We call it like psychotropic.
Psychotropic drug?
No, like a sort of radiation on a distance, radionics.
Ah,
There's a that if you
radionics or psychotronics.
psychotronics. So
Yeah,
if
I
you have
think
a
it's called
picture of somebody,
psychotronics in the United States. Yeah.
you can send this or you can kill somebody on a distance. And
Can you
but
highlight what
the
happened in the last few days? Are you aware of his life? Are you aware of those facts? Can you tell us what happened?
last days of his
Yeah,
life.
yeah. This holiday for instance.
Now, strange thing is I don't have information about last days, only that what everybody is telling, and also what the friends of him they were seeing him told me. But I'm getting I've got a lot of information what was happening to him after his death, because it's like it looks like is being very active. And the first information it not only me, but there were more people getting this information. It was about the Pope and what was happening in Krakow. And it has to do a lot of with Pizzagate story, and it has to do with information which was released by Max during the conference. And I think it was the main cause of his death, the Pizzagate story, and the babies being killed.
Now, is that something which you found out then, or you found out subsequently?
No, I found it was last 2 weeks after he died. There were things going on in Krakow. It was a Pope. It was a huge meeting of young people from all over the world, and the Pope was here in Krakow, and the huge ceremony which was prepared for Krakow had something to do with catching the power of like blocking the power of Polish nation and of Polish youngsters. And Max was very involved in what was happening on a spiritual level during this time, and he was fighting with us yeah, how shall I say?
So 2 weeks after his death, he was fighting spiritually with you or your team or people like you to
Yes,
stop
yes.
this attack on the Polish people.
A huge fight, and this fight has to do with the future of everything what's happening here on the spiritual level in Poland. And he was involved, and after all, then it was like 3 days after. I was having very hard time, and we made sort of battle with many people connecting together on the spiritual level, astral level. And after this battle, about 3 days later, I saw him in sort of. He looked um, like Templar.
Knights
He
Templar.
like yeah, Knight
Yeah.
Templar. Like he was having like this metal stuff. How do you call it?
It's
Sorry,
mesh.
sorry,
It's I think
It was like middle age
there's a name. There's a name I can't remember. Yeah.
harness in
Mace. No, it's not mace. Anyway,
anyway. He was dressed as the like let's say 11th 12th century soldier, and on a high position. It was very obvious to me, like a chief of
a knight.
and yeah, and it looks like he came back to his former reincarnation on Earth of
Yeah.
I don't
As a Knights Templar.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, maybe I don't know, maybe this his decision not coming back had to do with this story. I don't know, maybe he was tired, maybe he was maybe I had a feeling when I started to talk to him. It was like 1 hour after his death, and I could contact him because I do it very often for my friends, for my clients. People are dying, or I'm trying to contact people which are dead already and has to say something to their families, and it's not new for me. I'm doing this for years, and 1 hour after his death, I was talking to him and I was asking for answers, but he was in shock. He was completely in shock, but he didn't want to turn to me, and he didn't want to come back. It was like too much pain, too much stress, too much. I don't know. It was like maybe he knew that he had no chance. No, he couldn't win with this power. Which was connected those groups. They wanted to kill him.
Do you have any information on that group?
No, yeah, it's we know everybody. I don't have I don't have specific informations. I only know that they are. Maybe it's like we don't know who is just complete behind the. I mean, everybody knows a bit, but then the fighting happened on the different levels, on different dimensions, and there is like different timelines. It's very complicated to tell with whom you are fighting, because if they want to get rid of you, they can use many different possibilities and different ways to kill somebody, or to keep somebody's mouth shut. And I don't know what for groups these are, but then yeah.
Do you want to explain that? Is this have time to explain what that all is? What's it about?
I mean, I think it has to do with I think everybody knows the Pizzagate story. It is about children being killed, abused, and child trafficked. How do you call it?
Satanic ritual abuse.
Satanic rituals abuse, and it's happening all over the world. There are thousands of children being catch and missing, and this is happening on a very huge scale. And Max started to talk about it, and that's why he was killed.
Now that story only really began to break after his death.
Yeah, that's what I know. But strange things start to happening after his death. I met somebody from Warsaw, and he's telling me, "Oh, I had a dream with Max, and he was there and there, this place," and it was like he's connecting everybody he could connect in another dimension. He was starting to send some information to different people, and I heard the stories that somebody had a dream, very clear dream, and he was talking to Max within 2 weeks after that. This, let's say, in August. Then another story in September. It was like very spontaneously coming from completely different people. I've got this information that like he's being active and try to connect people. They are open for this contact, and it's happening all the time.
How much of that is hearsay or disinformation, and how much do you think that's true?
Oh yeah, this information. Yeah, I can't tell you. I only can. What I've done. I start to write it down, and I have some few pages of notes of all this kind of information from him after his death. And
is that something that you've got access to? You could talk about now.
Yeah, but then that's what I'm telling. That's what I told you already. It was like what happened 2 weeks after, just after his death, the same evening. We were actually with all group. We were fighting to get him back, and we connect also Sarah, and Sarah started doing some rituals. She asked the girls staying with Max's body to try to help him. Because I had a feeling that she has to talk. We need just that 1 hour after his death, when I was trying to get him back, and I had my first idea was to try to ask Sarah to help us, and she did, and the girls contact her, and she starts to work with us together, and she knows a lot about what was happening this evening.
In what way does she know a lot?
I mean, what was happening to Max and our group, like
she gave a very detailed account at the conference, at the basis conference, which is something to do with some kind of soul extraction, very complicated process to work on the energies of the soul. I'm not sure if I'm using the correct terms, but it was some kind of process involving removal of the soul, engineering or doing something with the soul and then putting the soul back. So it looked as if Max actually did die, and then came back, and then died a second time.
Okay, yeah, this feeling I had as well, because I was not there, but then I could feel that he came back to us. He was standing next to his body. It was his decision. It was like I don't know, that's why I was asking him. I mean, we made this meditation. Everybody was calling him, and it was like there was a chance that he was coming back, but he decided not to come.
That's the second time.
The second time, this like 1 hour and a half after his death, but we were trying maybe for 2-3 hours, and yeah. just after those guys from hospital left, and we were fighting to get him back, but it was like because he was very close. He was like, I felt he was standing next to his body, and but he decided not to come back. Now what I don't know what happened to him within this 1 hour, because maybe there are some techniques which are disturbing to save somebody. I don't
What do you
know.
mean disturbing?
Like disturbing to get him back. Maybe, yeah.
Can you describe any of those techniques?
No, I can't describe this. I'm not so. I'm not so technical in all this stuff. I'm quite good in connect people after in different dimensions, because that was my specialization. But after, even if I would like to go, I have also another explanation. There is something around which is not helping to contact Max very easily. I mean, he has to look for sort of time loop, or sort of opening, or sort of to get information to living people. He's trying very hard, but it's not working very well. I mean, like on the other side, where he is now, there are somebody is disturbing. You know what I mean?
Is that there's the name comes to mind of Aquino, this
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
I mean, that's been mentioned several times, and also obviously Stuart Sverdlow is photographed there with Stuart and Monica and things.
I mean, they are very, very advanced in all those. I mean, that even if you what Max was telling, I know about super soldiers. Most of them, they are getting they trained in different dimensions as well, except in our dimension. And there is huge technique or doing stuff with people on those other dimensions. And sometimes I have some access, but I'm rather getting sort of access that I could see, observe, but sometimes I don't understand what is happening. I only see images,
How do you see that? What does it look like?
It depends on situations. Like sometimes I'm years ago there was a huge tsunami in Asiatic country, and just the same night when it happened, I'm having like a sort of conscious dreaming, and I see myself as a scientist in a white coat, and I'm working with a group of scientists, and we are I know that we are somewhere hanging in the space. Just we are not on the Earth. We just in a sort of lab, which is kilometers above the Earth, and we are sending. We are working on producing sort of like trying to shoot to the ocean and try to make an explosion, and I didn't know what was happening. I was in the morning. I thought, yeah, I saw myself within a situation which was completely clear. It's very modern, high technological stuff, and I know that we are not on the Earth. We're just hanging somewhere in a spaceship, and we're trying to shoot. Sort of made an explosion on Earth, and then in the morning I hear there was a tsunami, but I saw how it happened. They were just like getting.
Is this the one that happened in Japan?
No. It was in some years ago. Not in Japan. No, it's in Indonesia or of India.
Yeah, there's Indonesia.
Between. I saw how they did it, but I can't tell you. And I'm having very often such situation when something very bad is going to happen. I'm being like a sort of observer. I could observe this because I'm like in the body of somebody who's doing this. But maybe I don't have it very often. I'm having that on it is very spontaneous, and sometimes it's happening. And what I feel now that Max is trying to contact me or in other people, but we are not having very easy because something is blocking this contact. And what last year there was a huge fight about CERN and about the portals being open, and I also have very vivid like memories what was happening then. I was fighting with people from another civilization with this huge power, actually the same black let's say Kabbalah, which was trying to during this Pope visit in Krakow, they were trying to catch the souls of hundred thousands of young people standing there between Krakow and Wieliczka. And they prepare these rituals. It was actually like 1 week of very heavy satanic rituals on the most important ley line in Poland between going through Krakow from southeast to northwest direction and just passing through the center of Krakow. And it's also heart chakra of Poland. And what they've done, it was prepared on this satanic rituals. They will prepare very, very precisely on a geomantic way, and they could have a huge impact on all Europe and all world if they had success. And what Max did, because of information he gave to me and to other people, we could stop this fight above Krakow. It was actually a huge fight here.
Can you describe how that looked like, or what was involved, or the other people who were involved?
Yeah, I had a vision that we were like with 9 people, 5. Sorry, how many? I don't remember. It was like groups of 9 people meditating in 6 points around Krakow. And what happened later, we built sort of pyramid above Krakow. And the last days when people were leaving, these thousands of youngsters were leaving Krakow, we had a rainfall here, which was about 5-6 hours. It was amazing. It was like liters of water falling from the sky. And later, when I checked that building of pyramid, it is a very ancient ritual from Indians from Mexico, when they when they had problems with no rain for years, for months, they were doing this ritual of building a pyramid. And this pyramid I've got an information that we have to build this pyramid above Krakow for protection. But this pyramid, because it was built, we had some protection. Those satanic rituals were not working. And after all, this rain came last day. And it was like a success, showing us that we had a success in fight with this satanic story.
And that involved who? The Pope?
Yeah.
And who else in Poland?
I don't know. I mean, if you open, you only have to look on the internet, and I don't know. It's Pope is enough, or church is enough.
I mean, a lot of people wouldn't expect the Pope to be involved with a satanic ritual.
I mean, maybe it's not him, but then we've got information from Max that those satanic ritual is happening in Vatican during this days in Krakow. I mean, it doesn't have the Pope doesn't have to be in those satanic rituals. I don't know this, but then it's enough if he is connected with what's happening in Vatican at that time.
And what's happening in the Vatican at this time?
No, yeah, somebody gave the information that the small babies were being killed. It had to do something with Krakow. This is quite complex. I don't have precise information. I only have some small pieces of information, and there were many people at the same time connecting together and giving some pieces of information, and a few people saying there were information from Max.
Is this anything to do with Hamler during the war in the SS?
SS, yes, I had the feeling that it has to do something with this also, yeah.
And time loops.
Yeah, possible.
There's been a suggestion that what happened with Max in the closing days, hours, was some kind of attempt to. I don't want to mention. It's quite a shocking thing of where they get the body to orgasm before as it dies.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with that? As a mechanism of capturing the soul, or did that happen the day before? 2 days before?
Well, when it happened, I don't understand.
There's a problem with the last interview, the so-called last interview. There are 2 last interviews with Max. There's the interview with Max where he's gurgling and it's very distressful.
Yeah.
And then they then re-interview him after his last interview, and he says he was away, he'd disappeared, he'd gone, and he'd come back, and that's what I mean. That was the first time he died.
Okay. Yeah.
That would have happened maybe 36 hours before, but I'm not clear. I don't know. I wasn't there. Anything on that?
No, I don't have information what was happening this day before. I only know what from the moment, the 1 hour after his death.
And what time was that? Because there's a bit of confusion whether it was 4 o'clock or 2 o'clock or 6 o'clock or.
Then it was for sure late in the evening, because when I contact them, it was all about 9 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
And
that's the time I was traveling, and that's the time when Monica, when I talked to her, I had a number of phone calls with Monica, very, very distressed, but she sent me these text messages to contact his mother, and I responded by putting a Facebook a page out, and that was a Facebook fast blast to get hold of that, and then that's when there was this period of time when there seemed to be some hope that Max could come back.
Yeah.
But
I've got information actually from you. Somebody called me, then he saw the information on your Facebook about Max, and then the same after 1 minute, I was phoning to Warsaw to somebody who was there with Monica and his brother. And then we tried to get him back from this moment.
Are you able to say who was there at the time?
There were a few friends. Monica, when I think Monica was phoning everybody, friends of Max and herself, when she saw what was happening to Max. And I think there were like 3-4 people there. I'm not so, maybe, look, it is like I'm not allowed to give names now, and maybe one day we should have all of us.
Yeah.
Like
when you say you're not allowed, I mean, have you been? I mean, is there a police investigation or what's going on? I mean, we're talking now for the purposes of this recording. We're talking on the 5th of March, 2017.
Mm-hmm. I have nothing to do with this police investigation. I think nobody. If you have I mean, there were just like 3 or 4 people there together with Monica, and actually when they were phoning Sarah, Sarah could also hear them because it was like a small group standing there. I don't know if there were 3 of them or 4. I'm not so sure. But then they were very close to Max and Monica. And yeah, everybody was fighting for him. And they came actually. I mean, some of them they came. They came after his death. I don't know. I don't know really.
Right.
But
I don't want you to say anything which you don't know and you're not personally aware of. I think.
yeah, then better not. Yeah, because I don't have enough information.
Yeah.
I know what was happening on this 4th dimension level because I could see him. I could talk to him. I was trying to get him back. I could feel him. But then I can say nothing about what was happening before his death in Warsaw. I don't have information.
Yeah.
Only, and I know I have some information just from the moment of his death and those weeks later. And he seems to be very active on the other side.
What do you mean by that?
I mean active in a way that he's fighting and trying to contact people, living people being also involved in this sort of maybe not a fight.
Did he give any message for his mother at all?
Not to me, but I don't have there is possible that we can collect for you some informations and put them all together in from different people. I need some time to contact people that I think they could have some information about him, and we can make some notes, put them all together, and send to his mother if she's open for this kind of information.
Yes, well, that would be very nice if that's possible. Yeah. Are you aware of a BBC program that's gone out a week ago?
Yeah, I have seen it.
Yeah. Do you have a comment on it or anything?
Oh, not really.
No.
I'm busy. Look, this. I have my own source of information. I'm moving somewhere in different dimensions, and it's very. How shall I say? It's still very strange. It's a pity that it went this way, but I had a feeling that I had even first moment. I had a feeling that everybody who knows what was going on should help to protect him. And I had a feeling for myself, like a pity and being, let's say, I felt guilty because I knew what was going on. I had the problems like he had myself, and I know how difficult it is and how much you need help from in other people being aware what's going on, and I felt guilty that I didn't help to protect him. But yeah.
What do you mean you feel guilty? Is it just sort of, where it's when somebody is this the kind of thing that you would sort of, if only I did this or if only I did that?
Yeah. But then it's like I think many people in Poland, they have all of them, they had this guilt feeling because he was very precious for us, giving this information, what he gave during the conference and during the meetings and interviews, and why it happened in Poland, it's awful, and he was very precious. We wanted to have him here, to connect with him, to doing this fight because he was busy with this fight in other dimensions, and yeah.
Well, we're coming up to almost a full hour here. We got a couple of minutes, I think, with probably time to round it off. Is there anything you'd like to say in summary, in brief? What you want? Is there anything but you want to just get out of the way and say?
Maybe it's too early to make a summary because I have the very strong feeling that the story didn't end, and we can expect many different visions of meetings with him. I mean those senses, people which are being a little bit more sensitive and having access to another dimensions, and there are plenty of them nowadays.
Yeah.
And we have to follow the story because it's not finished yet.
Okay, well, Maria M, out of vision. I've been looking at you on a different monitor, and I've been giving, for the purposes of this recording, it's just a wide shot of a screenshot and a little bit of the technology I've got here just to pretty it up or do whatever. I'm very grateful for your information on this, and wish you well. And perhaps at some other time, whenever you feel it's right, we can do another one and see what that information is. It's clear we got an interdimensional war going on here. Is that right?
Yeah, it's for sure. And thank you very much for having me, having this interview with me. And I hope I can get you some more information next time.
Okay, well, thank you very much. This is the Basis Project on the death of Max Spiers, doing an update of what happened then on the other realms of existence. Would that be right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We're coming out of record now. This is a closeout of this Basis information source. Thank you.